Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to share with you how to go about using gap and difference to tackle questions on common multiples. I'm going to use this question to explain to you. Now, Mr. Tan wants to buy some pencils for his students. If he gives each student 5 pencils, he will have 7 pencils left. If he gives each student 8 pencils, he will have 1 pencil left. How many students does he have? How many pencils must he buy? So when we see such question, right, especially in primary 4, when we are in the topic on factors and multiples, we will do the listing of multiples. Okay, let me explain to you using the next slide. Now, in P4, our teacher taught us this method. Okay, all right, so I'm going to draw a tabulation. There are two ways of drawing. So I'm going to draw it in a horizontal way. Two sets of values. Okay, give me a minute. So you have to use a ruler, of course. All right. Okay, now the first one. If he gives each student 5 pencils, so everybody has 5. All right, every student has 5. So if every student has 5, he will have 7 pencils left. Now, 7 pencils left means extra 7 after giving away 5. Okay, so if the person gives away 5, he will have 7 extra left, right? That means in total, at first, he should have 12 pencils. Okay, so now if there are 2 students, then the 2 students, each person received 5. That means in total, Mr. Tan has given away 10 pencils. He will still have 7 pencils left. So 10 plus 7, that will be 17. So this is the process that we are taught in schools. So will be 5, 10, 15. So we just do the listing of the multiples of 5. Right? Okay. Now, so after listing the multiples of 5, what we need to do is have to add 7 to the multiples. And that will be in our second row. So 15 plus 7, that will be 22. 20 plus 7, that will be 27. And the list continues. Okay? The list continues from here. All right? Now, what about if he gives everybody 8? Then he will have 1 pencil left. So extra 1 pencil. So if everyone has 8, so let's say he has only 1 student. So that student received 8. And then Mr. Tan realizes that he has only 1 pencil with him. So in total, he must have bought 9. Okay. Now, if Mr. Tan has 2 students, student A received 8, student B received 8, so 16 pencils given away. Mr. Tan will still have 1 pencil left, so that will be 17. All right. So you notice, if you use the two situation, okay, I call it cases. So case 1 and case 2. If you use case 1, we arrive at 17 as a total. If you use case 2, we also arrive at 17 as a total. So the two cases end up in the same situation. So this is for 1 student. This is for 2 students. So what can we say? We can say that Mr. Tan has 2 students. And how many pencils must he buy if he wants to give the 2 students pencils? Okay, so this question, to do this question, we have to calculate further. All right, so how to calculate? Okay, what we can do is we can make use of the value 2. Right? Now, what we can do is, let me use the first example, the first case. Now, if there are 2 students, okay, right? Give me a minute. Now, if there's two students, right? One person received 5, then he has 17 in total. If he has 2 students, in case 2, one person received 8, he will have 17 in total. So in actual fact, we have already answered question B by looking at our table. Our table shows us the answer. Okay, all right. So this particular column has all the information. All right, it's a second column, so it is representing 2 students, and the 17 refers to the total pencils that he must buy. So this is using common multiples way of solving a case 1, case 2 kind of question. Usually in the word problem, it has the word if. The word if appears twice. It's a double if question. So when you see a double if question, straight away you know that it has got to do with common multiples. Now, I'm going to use another method to solve this identical question using gap and difference in my next slide. Now, we know that Mr. Tan, okay, he wanted to buy pencils, right? And he wanted to buy some pencils. So how many pencils must he buy? Simple. I'm going to indicate using model. So imagine this is the whole thing representing the pencils that he should buy. Okay, so I'm going to indicate here the pencils, all the pencils that he must buy. Now this is for case 1, which is the first if. The first if, case 1. Then the case 2 will be here, the one that I highlighted in purple. So for case 2, it has got to do with the same model. All right, what am I talking about? It means that it must have the same starting point and it must end at the same point. All right, now, okay, let's plug in the information for case 1. Now, if he gives each student 5 pencils, right, and he would have 7 left. So let me see. Let's say I pretend that this is the 7 left. Okay, and then all these are given away. Okay, all right, so gave 5 each. Right, now what about the next one in case 2? Now if he gave 8 each, let's say it ends here, then you have 1 left. Okay, 1 left. So this is the 1, right? Okay, so this one would be gave 8 each. All right, so the leftover is actually here and here. So the first one is for case 1, 7 pencils left. And for case 2, it is 1 pencil left. Now, when we use gap and difference, it has a way of doing it using equations without having to construct, without having to draw the common multiples table, without having to list the common multiples, without having to use a times table. Okay, so for this question, right, we can actually see that if you follow me closely, if I draw this line down, starting from here, and I draw this line down, this over here is the gap. The gap is the gap between the left, the gap between these two information. So it's 7 minus 1 gives you 6, the difference between them. Okay, right? So that we call it a gap. We give it a name. All right. So the gap between the two values representing the leftover pencils. Now, next one would be the difference. So we have written one equation for the gap, and we are going to write an equation for difference. Now, difference means the different way of giving the pencils, giving away 5 each, giving away 8 each. So the difference in the way pencils are given away to each student, the difference is 3. Now, what we need to do is we take these two values, divide them. That means gap divide by difference. When the gap is divided by difference, we will obtain the number of students. So 6 divided by 3 gives you 2. So 2 students. So answer for part A is completed. Alright. Now, how to find how many pencil he has to buy? Super easy. So to do the part B, right? What we can do is we do something called GET, the group, each, and total concept. Okay, I write down here for you. GET, the group, each, and the total concept. Right? Some schools they use this acronym GET. Now, let me explain to you. Now, 2 represent the 2 students, which means the 2 groups. There are 2 groups, right? So I'm going to use case 1 to explain to you how to go about doing it. So if there are 2 students, groups of 2, right? There are 2 groups, sorry. And then in case 1, we know that one group has 5 pencils. One student receive 5 pencils. So the total will be 10, right? 2 times 5 equals to 10. 2 multiplied by 5 equals to 10. But 10 is not the real total because the total is, there will be 7 pencils left. So what we need to do is, we have to take 10 plus 7. Okay, I'm going to remove this. I need a space. So I'm going to write the word difference here. So what happened is, the actual total will be 10 plus 7 because we have 7 pencils left. So 17. So what is this 17? 17 is the total number of pencils that he must buy. So this GET equation help us to get the answer for part B, but it is based on case 1. Now we can also use the same case 2 to solve, to use GET. Okay, right? So if you use case 2, it is the same way. So let me show you how to do using this little space I have. So if I'm using case 2, right? If I use case 2, now 2 students, each person receive 8. Then he has extra 1 left, right? So 2 times 8 is 16. 16 plus 1 is 17. So we still get back the same answer. So actually, students are strongly recommended to use case 1 to get the answer for part B, and to use case 2 for checking purpose. Alright, so I've shown you how to go about using gap and difference to tackle questions involving common multiples. Now, some of you may be thinking, but I can do this using common multiples, so why must I use a different way? Right, the next question will explain to you why I strongly recommend gap and difference. Let's take a look at this question. Now, Mrs. Goh wanted to buy identical containers to store the cookies she baked. If she packed 55 cookies into each container, she will be left with 27 cookies. If she packed 30 cookies into each container, she'll be left with 102 cookies. Look at the values, so huge. Right? I think it's quite a scary thing to do if we use common multiples, because we have to list the multiples of 55, and then after that plus 27 to each listing. Then after that, we have to list the multiples of 30, and then we add 102, and then we have to find a common total. I think it is a very tedious process. All right, so to do this question in a more faster way, more efficient, more effective way, I truly recommend gap and difference. Highly recommended. Okay, so let me use gap and difference to solve this question. But to do this, it's always important to draw a model. So this is our case 1, and this is our case 2. I'm going to use a different color. Okay, case 2. All right. Okay, so let's draw a model for case 1. So the model, remember, they must start from the same position and must end at the same position. So case 1, this one represents all the cookies that she baked. Okay, then case 2, this one represents all the cookies that she baked, but it's for case 2. Now let's take a look at case 1. Case 1, if she wanted to buy containers, right? So case 1 says that she packed 55 cookies into each container and she would be left with 27. Packed 55, left 27. So I pretend the 27 is here, okay? So I just put 27 and I label the word left up there. Alright? Okay, now then over here, I will have to write down 55 each given away. Okay? Now, next one. The person gives 30 each. Okay, so I think 30 each will be here. And it ends here. Alright? So this will be the 102 left, cookies left. Okay, so if you recall how to do, we have to use equations, right? Now, the first equation will be the gap. So what is the gap? The gap starts from where? Here and ends where? Here. Right? The start of the left and the start of the other one. Okay? So this is the gap, GAP. So the gap is simply 102 minus 27. So when you take 102, subtract 27, okay? Right? We obtain 75. Now, the next equation, of course, we have to find the difference. So the gap is to find the left, all right? Then the difference is to find the way cookies are given away, right? So cookies were given away in 2 ways. First one, 55 each into, not giveaway, packed, 55 cookies packed in a container, and the case 2 will be 30 cookies packed in a container. So we use these 2 values, subtract each other. So 55 minus 30. All right, that gives us 25. Okay, so this is the way it's actually referring to each, how they are packed. Now, the number of containers, very easy already. We take gap, divide by difference. Gap, divide by difference. And we obtained 3. So, Mrs. Goh should buy 3 identical containers. Okay, so A is completed. Now, to do part B, we have to use case 1 to find out how many cookies she baked, and then we use case 2 for checking purpose. Okay, I'm going to do in the next slide. Okay, so we know that she should buy 3 containers, right? So that is our number part A. So to do part B, let me use case 1. All right. Now, if she has 30, she should buy 30. She should buy 3 containers, right? So 55 cookies in each container. She will have 27 left. All right. So if you use your calculator and then we follow the order of operation way, all right, we should get our answer 192. Then we check using our case 2. Right? If she packed 30 cookies in each container, she would have 102 left. So again, using order of operation, calculate this, you will still get 192. So it means that 192 is the answer for part B. Alright, so if the numbers are super huge, it's ridiculous to do the listing of common multiples. Very torturing, very stressful. Plus, if this is a paper 1 question, we cannot use calculator, and with huge numbers, I think without calculator, very time consuming, very tedious. So if this question is a paper 1 and we use gap and difference, it will become super easy because very basic order of operation concept. Okay? Now, I have actually shared with you one type of gap and difference question. In total, there are 3 types. So the first type that we have discussed in my earlier slides is actually gap and difference excess. In some books, they call it left. Okay, so just now in that question, you have the 2 words left. Okay, after packing, how many cookies left? After packing, how many cookies left? Then in the earlier case, giving away pencils, how many pencils left? Case 2, giving away pencils, how many pencils left? So it's a left situation. If it's a left situation, we have to use one way of solving. All right. Now, then there's a second type. It's called shortage. Okay. Right. So in some books, they call it what they need. Right. So for example, the person want to give away some pencils, right? But insufficient. So need to buy how many more. So that idea. Then the third type, which is the higher order, it is excess shortage. Okay. All right. So in my current video, this video, I've actually showed you how to go about using gap and difference to replace the concept common multiples. In my videos to be uploaded, I will be sharing with you how to use gap and difference shortage and excess shortage to solve such questions involving similar kind of questions about common multiples. Okay, so it's a shortcut to common multiples. Now, if you like my today's sharing, all right, thumbs up, give me a like, share with friends who are interested to know, especially the primary fours, okay, all right, how to go about using gap and difference to replace common multiples listing. Indeed, it's a shorter way, more effective, more efficient way, less time consuming. Okay, drop me your comment, your feedback. If you like my sharing and you find that my sharing is clear and easily understood, yeah, share with me. And of course, I encourage feedback, right? Whether is it positive, not so positive, yeah, share with me. And I highly recommend you to subscribe. So when you subscribe to my channel, you will be notified when I have new videos being uploaded. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for supporting my channel. This is Joseph signing off. Goodbye.